Hey guys, welcome to the Hollywood TV podcast. Well, once in a lifetime travel experiences that are closer than you think. Today, we're going to learn more on how you can do more in Nova Scotia. Please welcome Pam Wamback, the media relations specialist for Tourism of Nova Scotia. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Noah.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I'm in Nova Scotia, so I obviously I'm a little biased, but I'm happy to be here and happy to connect with you virtually.
Yes, it is so nice. And by the way, I love the little virtual background. It looks so amazing. Nova Scotia. I'm so jealous. I wish I was there. It seems like a whole lot of fun.
This actually is one of our probably more iconic lighthouses that's called Peggys Cove. It's
Oh,
located
wow.
just about less than an hour's drive from our capital city, Halifax. And
Uh-huh.
I love it. Believe it or not, this shot is in the summertime, but it's accessible year round. And even this time of year, it has its own unique charm and beauty. But it's a little
Mm.
tiny fishing village of about 50 to 60 people live in this village. And yet it gets
Oh.
close to a million visitors on an annual basis.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
extremely popular, but you can
Mhm.
see it's because it's so beautiful. But I
That's
love
a
the fact
beautiful
that,
lighthouse.
yeah, and I mean, Peggy's Cove is probably one of our better knowns, but we have dozens and dozens of Peggy's Coves
Mhm.
located all around the province.
Yeah, right, Pam. Well, first off, share with us your story on how you knew having a major in tourism management and business administration was your calling.
Yeah, I mean, I was raised in a small town in the southwestern part of the province. It's predominantly, based in the fishing industry. So, growing up, you were kind of this is the direction you should go. So mine was I was good at science, and I actually wanted to be a dentist. And partway through my university career, I took a summer job as a tour guide, and I was like, this is kind of neat. And people started telling me, oh, you're good at this. Like, why aren't you doing that? And I'm like, I never actually
Mhm.
considered it or thought of it from that perspective. So I finished my degree, switched over to another university, and did my business major with a focus on tourism development and hospitality management. And so many years later, I'm still here in the business, but um, I love where I'm from. I love the people that are here. I'm very fortunate to live in this area, and to
Wow.
showcase the people that are here, the products that we have, and share my home with people from around the world.
Absolutely. And and it shows how much you care about what you do and your job. And that's just all around awesome, Pam. But, what do you find unique about a Nova Scotia vacation that you think the viewers will as well?
Well, I think from Nova Scotia, one of my favorite things is the fact that even when you look at us on a map, we're on the eastern part of Canada. We're the second smallest province in Canada. So we look kind of small when you compare it to the rest of the country. But don't let that fool you or underestimate us, because there's a lot of ground to cover when you get to Nova Scotia. And the
Hmm.
fact that it's so diverse as you go from one region of the province to the other in terms of the geography, the culture, even the language in some parts of the province, you can get all that without having to spend the entire time in your vehicle or in your car as well. So it's a great driving destination, whether you're driving along the southwestern tip and weaving in and out of coastal communities that are reminiscent
Yeah.
of New England, to around the Bay of Fundy, which is home to the world's highest tide. So that's our agricultural region. So lots of
Hmm.
farmlands and orchards and vineyards that are there, to up along the Northumberland shore region. We share the
Hmm.
Northumberland Strait with Prince Edward Island, so it's home to some of the warmest waters north of the Carolinas. So fantastic beaches that are
Oh,
there that
wow.
are never crowded. To places like along the eastern shore, the eastern seaboard, up to Cape Breton. Cape Breton Island is truly a jewel in of itself, home to the Cabot
Mm-hmm.
Trail, one of the most scenic drives in the world. So you go from having our cultural experiences with our Mi'kmaq, which is our Indigenous culture, to British, to our Acadian French, to Gaelic or Scottish Celtic experiences. There's just such a range of things. Like
Yeah.
we could spend hours talking about Nova Scotia.
Now, Pam, 2023 marks the 25th anniversary of the trademark lobster capital of Canada. There are so many ways that we celebrate lobster all year round, especially in Southwest Nova Scotia, whose lobster grounds are among the richest in the world. Can you talk with us more about that? Because I hear you are a lobster fan.
Forewarning you, lobster
Uh,
is like one of my dear passions. We could be here for a
oh,
while.
Well, Pam, we have
Are
15
you a
minutes, so
lobster lover?
you know what? I have never tried lobster.
Okay, we need to fix that.
We got to do it. Maybe this week, maybe this
Okay.
weekend. I'll do lobster.
I am a bit of a lobster fanatic. Like I said, I grew up in a lobster community. My family's involved in the lobster, so it's just kind of it's literally in my bloodstream. And
Yeah.
I'm very, very happy with that. So growing up, I grew up in southwestern part of the province, and for us, it was indicative. Like it was just lobster surrounded. Whether you were in the fishery, involved in the fish plants, the selling
Uh-huh.
of it in restaurants and such. So believe it or not, especially fresh lobster is available in the province 365 days a year. The way the
Mm.
fishery is managed is that there's regions of where you can fish it, the fishermen can fish it. And when you fish it, that rotates around the province. So it's a controlled management of
Ah.
the fishery. It just
Uh-huh.
so happens the southwestern part of the province, they're able to actually fish it for 6 months of the year through the winter
Hmm.
and spring. So they actually land about 40% of all the lobster that's caught in Canada on an annual basis. And of course, the majority of our lobster is exported to parts around the world. So
Hmm.
it's very important to us from an economic perspective, but also from a visitor perspective, because there's so many ways to taste and enjoy lobster beyond your traditional lobster dish, a lobster on a plate or the lobster roll. In fact, we
Hmm.
just celebrated a month-long festival here in Southwest Nova Scotia called the Lobster Crawl Festival. So it was all
Oh.
things to do with lobster, crawl around the region, sample lobster rolls. We had a lobster roll-off competition. We had concerts with folklore and fishing songs. You can tour a lobster pound. There's all kinds of different recipes and dishes that are focused
Uh-huh.
by restaurants. And in fact, we even have a brewery that makes a lobster base made from real
What?
lobster.
Well, Nova Scotia is lobster-tastic, so if you're a lobster fan like Pam, you want to go to Nova Scotia to eat all the lobster that you can get by booking a trip to Canada's fabulous Nova Scotia. Now, Pam, in 2023 of May is the official opening of a new $6 million welcome and interpretive center at the Highland Village. Highland Village is a living history museum and folk life center that celebrates the story, the language, and the living culture of Nova Scotia's Gaels. That's so fascinating to me, but can you share more knowledge with us about this morning?
Yeah, like I mentioned, so the latter part of the 1700s was that first immigration of Scottish settlement into the area, and they made their way up around Cape Breton. So really kind of in the center part of Cape Breton Island is a little area called Iona, and it's
Hmm.
located on the Bedore Lakes, which is a large inland saltwater lake. But Iona kind of really capitalizes and encompasses the Gaelic life, and it has a reconstructed historical village there from when the Scots would have first landed in the area. So that tells the story of what their everyday life was from a food perspective, from their language, their music,
Mm-hmm.
their everyday lifestyle, from farming and fishing as well. So that story is now just further enhanced with this new addition of this new interpretive center, which will continue to have exhibits, both permanent and roving, to continue to tell the story about the importance of the Celtic culture in Nova Scotia and in Cape Breton in particular. It'll be able to house concerts. We're known for our ceilidhs, and especially the ceilidhs and the Celtic music in Cape Breton, which you can find a ceilidh on any given night in any part of the island on a year-round basis. So we're really excited to have that new addition to our mass quantity of attractions in Nova Scotia.
Well, Pam, as we've learned so much knowledge from you about Nova Scotia, tell us how we can book a trip and where we can go to find out more information.
We have lots of information at novascotia.com. You can search communities and places that I've mentioned. We have
Hmm.
some sample itineraries. We've got information about here's the top 25 things not to miss in the province or unique experiences that we have, like dining on the ocean floor, for
Hmm.
example. So there's a wealth of information at novascotia.com, but there's also traditional ways that you can call us and talk to one of our travel counselors or email us as well, or visit any of our social media channels.
Pam Wamback, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us. And you're welcome back anytime on the show. We appreciate it.
Likewise, I hope to see you on in my neck of the woods sometime, Noah. Thank you so much.
Yes, we got to make it happen. Maybe we can come over there and do a little fun segment on location, on site, That would be
With
fun.
lobster.
With lobster. I was telling Pam I've never tried lobster, you guys, but we will have to make it. You know what? When I plan the trip to come over there and meet you in person, We'll do some lobster tasting. How about that?
Sounds good. Look
You know?
forward to it.
Thanks, Pam. Have a good day.
Thanks. Take care. Bye.